Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. I'm very grateful for such a kind introduction, and I feel very honored and humbled, and I'm grateful to all the audience over here, especially to Mr. Shamshad Sahab for inviting me to such an august gathering. I'm also, I learned a lot from Mishal Malik Sahab, Salman Ghani Sahab is there, and many others, and Mr. Kasuri. I think, first of all, आज क्योंकि it's 5 February है, I would like to say thank you to the entire Pakistani nation for supporting the Kashmiris unconditionally every year. Every segment of Pakistan society, be it students, intellectuals, academicians, politicians, lawyers, media, everywhere, it's the voice for the gross human rights violations. I can just keep this file over here. But this time, the difference hai, when you compare this 5th February with the 5th February of the past, Zameen Asman ka farak hai, because of the abrogation of Article 370, and I think Emir Bilal Sufi explained it quite beautifully, what India has basically done there. It's like changing the demography, the populace, the majority into a minority, just like the RSS did in 1947 in Jammu. They slaughtered lakhs of Muslims and changed that into a region of temples. And this is the same school of thought that is in power right now in India with a thumping majority, and they believe in the narrative of Akhand Bharat, and now they want to capture the entire Kashmir. It's not just the occupation forces, but now it is the public of India that has been given a free license to go and plunder, take away all our resources. And there are various policies that they were working on in the past 5 years, because if you recall, during the first election campaign, the first time when Mr. Modi was elected the Prime Minister of India, it was part of the election manifesto, application of Article 370, 35A, and even this time, and whatever he did was something so scary that which no war could ever have done on any nation, was just with this illegitimate presidential order. He took away all our rights, our right to property, our right to vote, our right to ownership, and made us refugees on our own land. The Kashmiris, who are the heirs of that land, have now become refugees. When we used to compare the Kashmir conflict with the Palestinian conflict, I recall that the Kashmiris would say that yes, there is one difference. We don't have settlements as yet. We have the occupation, but sadly, this year, I think it's a year, the past whole year has been a year of mourning that the Sharag, which Qaid-e-Azam used to say, has been cut. And sadly speaking, I think for the past over 50 years, Pakistan was too busy in bilateralism, in pleasing India, in trying to bring them on table through various diplomatic measures, through various political regimes, and various times, from Shimla to Lahore Accord and Agra Summit, 4 points of General Musharraf, cross-cultural diplomacy at one time, cricket diplomacy. I think Mr. Kasuri has worked really closely on the 4 points of General Musharraf. And the Aman Ki Asha, there was a time that, these are things that can bring both the countries nearer. But each time, India ditched out, backed out, because their intentions were never good. And I think if we have spent over half a century concentrating on trying to bring India closer towards dialogue, then I think the next 50 years should be on focusing on internationalizing the Kashmir issue on international forums. And the way Mr. Emir Bilal Sufi said that, we need to bring all the global legal experts on humanitarian law and international law together and do some brainstorming sessions on how to campaign for the rights of a voiceless, defenseless nation right now. I mean, there are so many ways that India is violating international, bilateral, multilateral treaties. There are so many resolutions on Kashmir that are still waiting to be implemented. But a lot of people say, oh, the UN will not do anything about it. It's just like, it's just in a cold, storage. The Kashmir issue, I mean, we have to have some kind of negotiation with India. But have we really exercised all those international mechanisms, the way Mr. Shamshad quite beautifully explained, that did we ask for UN peacekeeping forces, for a global Kashmir envoy? I mean, a lot of times the Pakistani Prime Minister has said that, he's scared. He even mentioned in his speech in the United Nations that he's too scared that if the curfew is lifted, there's going to be a bloodbath. But I think at that time he should have also said that this is the fear and this is what India is actually going to do, and it's already doing a lot over there, even during this siege of 6 months of doing search operations in villages and everywhere, and taking away all the youngsters into torture cells. So he could have demanded on that international forum that, we demand peacekeeping forces and we demand global envoy on Kashmir. And also, there's a very strong element that can be, internationalized in a very strong manner, is the security dimension, because this is not just an issue of the Kashmiris, like the Palestinians, of right to freedom or self-determination. This is also a nuclear ticking time bomb. And if you recall last year, on 27th of February, nuclear codes were exchanged between both the countries, and that's when the world suddenly realized that, oh God, even if there is a micro-nuclear exchange between the two countries, and almost 2/3 of the world can be wiped out. There can be global famine, there can be global ice age, and there's so many horrifying impacts of that. So I think we need to campaign that, because right now the nuclear commands are in the hands of a terrorist, RSS mindset man and his entire top-tier team of Mr. Modi's, Amit Shah and Ajit Doval. For them, I think their politics depends on trampling over Kashmiris and of minorities, and this is an ideal time also, because I think it has helped us in a way, what they're doing with the minorities within India, how they're treating them, the kind of anti-minority laws that are passed. I mean, the whole world, the rising India image is shunning, and the true face of Indian state policy is being exposed to the world. I mean, it's not Gandhi's India, the secular democratic India. This is, I would say this is the world's worst form of dictatorship or martial law that they have imposed on a nation and the way they have occupied it. And I think I have a few suggestions also, that I think it's high time that apart from requesting the United Nations for global envoy on Kashmir, I think they should nominate Kashmir envoys from within this land also, from Azad Kashmir or the Kashmiris that are settled in Pakistan, or the divided families, or who are experts. They should have a whole team of people, the stakeholders, the way, this is the principal party which is absent. I don't see many Kashmiris participating. I mean, the Kashmir committee should also be led more and more, or the members should be the true representatives. And I used to say this last, in 2019, in the beginning of 2019, I proposed that the Kashmir committee, or whatever you form to represent our plights, that should be under the Hurriyat. The leaders that are over there who are calling the shots, who are leading the movement, their opinions, their suggestions should be on board in everything you do to focus on Kashmir. But I think that time is gone. Now it's not even about committees. They can't do much. अब मामला इतना बिगड़ गया है कि अब तो वॉर फुटिंग की पॉलिसी, जो मैंने कल भी एक फंक्शन में कहा था, सलमान गनी साहब में थे, कि इमरजेंसी नाफिज होनी चाहिए कश्मीर की पॉलिसी के ऊपर पाकिस्तान की तरफ से, कि स्लोगन्स. We stopped giving those emotional talks and we started collecting data, like structure of violence of Khurram Parvez. He was also locked up, very famous human rights defender from Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. They said the world, especially for the Palestinians or the Kashmiris or majority of Muslims, you have to set a gold standard. because you have to prove yourself 3 times more than your enemy. Israel in their case and in our case.